All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is May 2nd, my birthday. We got a bunch of MLB games to jump into today, and you know we're gonna cash today because we got the birthday vibes. We're gonna jump into each and every game. I'll give you my lean or leans on the game, but all my final plays, what I'm ultimately gonna roll with, what counts towards my record, what I'm most confident in, those will be in the pinned comment, and I update that throughout the day. So make sure to keep an eye on that. That is how we keep you posted with our final plays, guys. And before we jump into it, go ahead and smash that like button, smash it for the birthday boy over here. And if it's your birthday out there too, happy birthday. Hit that subscribe button if you are new as well. And let's go ahead and jump into game one here. We got the Marlins taking on the Braves. Marlins favored in this one, minus 130 on the money line at home. Total sitting at 7.5 runs as of right now. The Marlins coming off a sweep of the Cubs, and then Atlanta coming off of a doubleheader yesterday where they win the first game and then lose the latter game 5-3 to the Mets. I'm kind of surprised to see the Braves as underdogs in this one. Now, it makes sense. I do understand why, especially because they're coming off of the doubleheader. Throw that on top. I get it. Sandy Alcantara on the mound for the Marlins, 1-2 with a 5.34 ERA. Braves have Bryce Elder on the mound. He's 2-0 with a 2.17 ERA. I'm going to lean towards the Braves on the money line here. I feel like anytime, at least for the foreseeable future, if we can get Braves for plus money on the money line, I am going to lean in that direction. So I know that it's a lot to go play a doubleheader and then travel to another city and go play a new team, a team that's coming off sweeping a good team. Like, a lot of stuff doesn't line up for a good Braves game here, but I think the value is on the Braves side of things. And then in terms of the total, 7.5, I think this one sits right around 8 or 9 runs. I am going to lean towards the over here. The Braves in their last 10 games have covered over 7.5 in those games 8 times, and the Marlins have done it 6 of their last 10. So I do like the trend there as well. We're going to lean towards the over. All right, next game up, we got Tampa Bay taking on Pittsburgh. I don't have any money line odds for this yet, as it has not come out. We do have a total, which is 7.5, so that's all we can really talk about right now. I do lean Tampa Bay on the money line. Pittsburgh's been playing really good baseball, 8 of their last 10. Tampa Bay has won 7 of their last 10. I lean Tampa Bay. We'll see what the money line odds are before I kind of give a play on that, so definitely keep an eye on the pinned comment. But in terms of a total, I think that this one has to lean towards the over here. We've seen these two teams in their last 10 games, pretty much both of them in their last, I would say, 5 to 6 games, be able to crush this total. So I am going to lean towards the over in this one. We don't have much, again, to go off of, but we do have Javi Guerrera is pitching for the Rays, 8.64 ERA, so you like to see that for the over. And then Roesley Contreras for the Pirates, 3-1 with a 3.58 ERA. I like the over. You have two teams with the better records in the MLB playing today. I think they're going to try and get it done offensively, not defensively. All right, moving on, we got Detroit taking on the Mets here. Detroit plus 130 on the money line at home. Total sitting at 8.5 runs. We just talked about it. The Mets are coming off a doubleheader against Atlanta. They also lose 2 of 3 in that series. They haven't won a series in about 3 or 4 series here. Detroit coming off of losing 3 of 4, I believe, or 2 of 3 against Baltimore. I forget which one it is, but they did lose the series against Baltimore. This Mets team, it's kind of tough to look at and say, oh yeah, I trust you, and I'm going to lean in your direction. And especially for the odds you're getting here over on DraftKings, minus 150 on the money line for the Mets. And I definitely don't like them as a run line team. They haven't covered They've only covered a minus 1.5 run line 3 of their last 10 games. This one really does puzzle me. I have nothing that is ultimately, I'm feeling it too strongly here. So I'm going to lean towards Detroit plus 1.5. This isn't really a play that I'm all that confident in. I want to be transparent with you guys, everything like that. So I wouldn't really necessarily put too much weight into this. In terms of a total 8.5, I slightly lean towards the over 2. I really do think this is a pretty crappy game, if I'm being honest, overall. So I'm not going to fake any sort of confidence just for the video. I don't love this game whatsoever. On the mound, though, for the Tigers, Lorenzen, he's 0-1 with a 7.07 ERA. Lucchesi on the mound for the Mets, 1-0 with a 2.19 ERA. Let me know in the comments what you guys are rolling with this, but I definitely don't feel like this is that bad. There's a lot of better spots out there in today's slate. And speaking of better spots, I do really like this one today. We got the Washington Nationals taking on the Chicago Cubs. Washington underdogs plus 130 here at home. Total is sitting at 9 runs as of right now, and I like the Cubs in this game here. Cubs are finally back on the win track. They got swept by Miami. They take the win yesterday 5-1. Drew Smyly pitched against Mackenzie Gore there, and I think that this one goes pretty much according to plan again. Trevor Williams on the mound for the Nationals. He's nothing special. 1-1 with a 4.1 ERA. Hayden Wesnecky on the mound for the Cubs. He's nothing special. I don't want to hype him up too much, but he's 2-1 with a 4.03 ERA. I like this in the Cubs win and an under type fashion. I can see the Cubs winning this one again, like 5-2 or 4-2 or something like that, sitting well under, but also taking a pretty commanding lead win there. So I like the Cubs. I like this spot a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes a final play. All right, Yankees taking on the Guardians here. Yankees minus 165 on the money line. You don't even need to know the Yankees order of rotation. When you see them as this heavy favorite, you know Garrett Cole's on the mound. 5-0 this season with a 1.1 ERA. BB's on the mound for the Guardians, 1-0 with a 1.59 ERA. I would like the under if it wasn't so low at 7. We've seen these Yankees games, especially when Cole's on the mound, start at around 7 runs here in terms of a total, and we kind of sweat those out. So in terms of a total, I am going to slightly lean towards the over. I don't think that I like it enough to make it a final play. The play that I actually like in this game, though, is going to be riding with Cleveland on the run line here, plus 1.5. They've covered that in 4 of their last 5 times being run line underdogs here. I do think that the Yankees have a strong chance to win this game. How can you not back one of the best pitchers in the league right now? But I like the fact that Cleveland has the momentum coming off a win yesterday. Again, Domingo Germán is way different than Garrett Cole, but I do like the fact that they had that grinded out 3-2 win yesterday. They can kind of carry that momentum into today. So I like the Guardians here to cover that run line. Do I think the Yankees win? I do. Now, if the odds weren't so terrible, like I said, minus 165, more like minus 170 now at the time of recording. If the odds weren't that bad, I'd probably be more comfortable leaning Yankees money line here, but you got to kind of trust the odds and you got to kind of follow the odds here. And I think that the trend and the money there is right for Cleveland, plus 1.5. Guys, before we get into the next game, I do want to talk to you a little bit about Outlier. Guys, Outlier has become my favorite sports betting research tool for both game picks. So we're talking, spread, run line, money line, totals, all that type of stuff, as well as player props, player trends, all that good stuff. You've seen me showcase it in videos in the past. If you want to see that, check out yesterday's videos. At the end of the videos, I jump into Outlier and show you how easy it is to, 1, find key plays and diamonds in the rough, but also to place those plays from either your phone or your computer with 1 click of the button, as it's integrated with all of the major sportsbooks there, guys. So make sure to check out Outlier. Use the link in my description or in the pinned comment. You guys can get a free trial for 7 days. You will love it if you try the free trial. Beware, I challenge you. If you download it and try it for 7 days, I warn you, you guys are gonna get hooked. It is $20 a month after that, $19.99. Well worth it. But yeah, I challenge you guys to do the free trial and then not love the tool. It is that good, and I truly do mean that. Let's move on here. We got the Red Sox taking on the Blue Jays. Verdugo walks it off last night. That was one of our cashes from yesterday. We had the Red Sox plus 1.5, and they ultimately take the win there in the 9th here. Red Sox, again, underdogs in this one, plus 123 on most sportsbooks, plus 127 in the graphic here on the money line at home. Total sitting at 9.5 runs. Tanner Houck on the mound for the Red Sox. He's 3-1 with a 4.5 ERA. And then Kikichi's on the mound for the Blue Jays, 4-0 with a 3 flat ERA. I think that Toronto probably gets this one done. They probably come out a little fired up, a little pissed after losing via a walk-off yesterday, but this Red Sox team is a plus 1.5 covering machine. 8 of their last 10 in this one, so I do think that this is a pretty good spot for them to do it again. I don't see Kikichi as this powerhouse pitcher. 4-0 with a 3 flat ERA. I'll give a lot of credit. I do think that is impressive, and I'm giving him the credit he deserves, but I don't think that this is a bad spot for the Sox to keep this one close again. So I'm going to lean towards the Red Sox on the run line. In terms of the total, 9.5. Now, they covered this yesterday, obviously. It was a 7-6, or 5-6, final there. but I don't think that they do it again. I think you have a couple pitchers that are going to let up a few less runs in this game, so I'm going to slight lean towards the under in this one. All right, we got the White Sox taking on the Twins in our next game. White Sox plus 153 on the money line at home. Total is sitting at 8.5 runs. The White Sox just got a win for the first time in a long time yesterday against the Tampa Bay Rays. They won 12-9. Yeah, kind of crazy, I know. On the mound for the White Sox, here's Michael Kopech, 0-3 with a 7.01 ERA. Ryan on the mound for the Twins. He has an impressive record at 5-0 and a 2.81 ERA. This Twins team, if you're going to bet them money line, you might as well pull the trigger on them run line. In their last 10 games here, they've covered that in 6 of them. They've covered it in 4 of their last 5 in the same exact games that they've won as well. So their last 10 wins here have been on the run line. That is the direction we're going to lean in for the plus 105 here. I do not see anything that stands in my way with Michael Kopech. He has not proven anything this season, and this White Sox team does not even cover that plus 1.5 as underdogs very well either. They're 6-4 to that line, or 4-6 to that line if you look at it from our perspective. So I'm going to lean towards Minnesota minus the 1.5. In terms of the total, 8.5, I do like the over here a lot. I think that we saw this White Sox team can at least score a decent amount of runs, and definitely have a lot of runs scored against them. And this Twins team has finally kind of gotten the bats going. And for 3 of their last 4 games, they have scored 7+ runs. They scored 8 twice against Kansas City, so I lean towards the over there. But I do like that plus money play of Twins minus 1.5. All right, next game we're jumping into here. We have Kansas City taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Kansas City plus 139 on the money line at home. Total is up there at 9 runs. This Baltimore team is coming off of 8 of their last 10 being victories here, and they're coming off of 2 against Detroit. 3 out of the 4, but 2 straight against Detroit. Kansas City losing 3 of the 4 against Minnesota here. I think this Baltimore team, the fact that you can get them at plus money here on the run line, I do think is valuable. Now, I do say that they are way more of a consistent money line team than a run line team when they are favored, but I do think 4 of the last 5 is a good spot here when you see their trend. So I like Baltimore minus 1.5. Minus 150 odds for money line in this game, I don't think, is all that terrible. Minus 150 is kind of where you definitely draw a line, being like, is the juice worth the squeeze? I do think that they get this job done. Yarbrough on the mound for the Royals. He's 0-2 with a 6.35 ERA. Wells on the mound for the Orioles. 1-1, but a low ERA at 2.79. This Orioles team, sneaky 19-9 record as well. So I like both sides of it. If you want the plus money, Orioles minus 1.5 is going to be your play. If you're looking for a safe and secure pick, Orioles winning 8 of their last 10 games is going to be your safe and secure play. And then in terms of the total, I don't know if the Royals are going to be able to carry their weight here. They have scored 4, 3, and 6 runs in their last 3 games. Before that, though, 1-0, 3. They weren't scoring that many runs. So I would like the over if you could tell me that the Royals are going to carry their weight, because I do think Baltimore is going to come in here and at minimum score 4 to 5 runs. So I'm going to slightly lean towards the over with the idea that, we definitely got to kick this one around a little bit more, chew it up, and see if we want to swallow it or spit it. I don't like that we went there. Moving on, next game. All right, we got the Cardinals taking on the Angels here. Cardinals on the money line here, minus 125 at home. Matt's on the mound for them. No wins this season, 0-3 with a 6.23 ERA. Sandoval on the mound for the Angels, 2-1 with a 3.16 ERA. This LA team is looking pretty good as of late. They've won 6 of the last 10. They've won 5 of their last 7, and they've covered when underdogs at plus 1.5 in 7 of their last 8 games here in 8 of their last 10. So they're playing pretty good baseball here, excluding their last series, I guess you could say. They lose 2 of 3 against Milwaukee. St. Louis gets swept by the Dodgers. I do think, I would say that St. Louis is due. They're going to come out of this slump. They're going to be better, but I just haven't seen it yet. I feel like I've been waiting for them to get better and get out of their slump. So because of that, I'm going to lean towards LA here. Plus 110 on the money line. You have some plus money there for a team that's trending in the right direction. I don't think they're very good. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. but this St. Louis team has not proved anything to us. They don't have a stud pitcher on the mound. Why would we lean towards them? Why would we back them? So in terms of value, I'm looking at that plus money on the LA side of things and saying, holy crap, you guys are playing way better baseball. There's some value there. And then in terms of the total, 9 runs, both these teams are like a roller coaster when it comes to this line here. 5 of their last 10 for the Angels have covered in this 9 line here. And then in terms of St. Louis, they've landed on 9 in 3 of their last 10 games here and covered it in 3 of their last 10. So it's a little confusing. I'm probably going to stick away from this total, to be honest. But if anything, I lean slightly towards the over if you guys have a gun to my head and are looking for a pick. All right, we have the Texas Rangers taking on Arizona here. Texas actually underdogs in this one. They've kind of started to slide just a little bit. They're plus 130 here on the money line at home. Total sitting at 7.5 runs. I'll say it right away. I really do like the over in this game. I don't care about pitching. I don't care about anything. You get Gray on the mound, 1-1, 3.91 ERA. Gallen on the mound, 4-1 with a 2.15 ERA. I get it. I get why this line is so low, but I do really like the over here. Then in terms of a side, I think that you're getting some decent value at minus 145 with Texas plus 1.5. I think Texas is going to keep this close. When they have been underdogs, they've covered that in 3 straight games. They've also covered it in 8 of their last 10 games. And I don't think this Arizona team, though they've started to play better baseball, they've won 3 of their last 4 games. I don't necessarily think that they warrant, or that warrants them being such heavy favorites in this game. Texas is coming off of an impressive sweep against the Yankees there, or the Yankees. So I mean, if you look at it like that, it's like, okay, I get it. And they didn't have to go up against the best. Well, they did play Garrett Cole in that series, I believe, and that was their only loss. So they won 3 of 4 against the Yankees, but still somewhat impressive. They kept the game close against Garrett Cole as well. I see there's some value here at Texas. That being said, I do like them on the run line. Like I said, minus 145 I think is the best value there. If you want to pull the trigger on Texas, plus 130 here on the money line, go for it. But I would say that Vegas knows something. There's a reason why a decent Texas ball club is so severely rated as an underdog here. So I'm going to lean towards the run line. I think they keep it close. And then again, I like the over even if it's an unpopular decision. All right, guys, entering our final 5. If you are still watching at this point in the video, 1, I thank you guys so much. And 2, go ahead and drop final 5 in the comments. Let me know that you guys are still watching at this point in the video. And I cannot thank you guys enough again. I already said it. If you are still watching, the fact that someone could be sitting there watching something for 15, 16 minutes as I blabber on like an idiot about baseball, I honestly can't thank you guys enough. So make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Do it for the birthday man over here. Birthday man up in the building. We're going to cash today. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and drop final 5 if you are still watching as of right now. We're looking at the Houston Astros taking on the Giants here. Astros minus 165 money line favorites at home. Total sitting at 8 runs as of right now. This game got blown open yesterday. Houston wins 7-3. I see that happening again today, but the odds are not all that great. We're looking at minus 165 for the money line here. I don't love that whatsoever. Just like yesterday, this probably becomes somewhat of a final play type of parlay play. I don't really like this on its own, but I can't really trust the Giants as of right now. And then in terms of a total, I like the over. We saw yesterday. I think it happens yet again. All right, we got the Rockies taking on the Brewers here. Feltner on the mound for the Rockies, 2-2 with a 4.68 ERA. Freddie Peralta on the mound for the Brewers, 3-2 with a 3.77 ERA. This Brewers team hasn't looked as good as I thought they would. They have won 3 of their last 4. They took 2 of 3 against the Angels, but they lost. They lost the series against Boston. They lost the series against Detroit. I do think they're starting to gather themselves. Luckily, they have sort of a get-right series here. They're playing Colorado. Obviously, that altitude, we have a total of 11.5 way up there. And you have this Brewers team that I think is ready to go. Minus 165 on the money line. I don't love, but they're such a bad run line team compared to when they have won. They've won 5 of the last 10 games, right? They've only covered minus 1.5 in 3 of their last 10 games. So they really win games by the skin of their teeth. And that's kind of apparent in some of the games that we've seen. They beat LA 2-1. They beat Boston 5-1, 5-3. They're really sliding by in some of these recent wins here. So I am going to lean towards Milwaukee on the money line. It's minus 165 again. That's some serious juice to be paying. But I can't really back the Rockies. They are coming off of a win in their last series here, but they dropped 2 of 3 against Arizona in that series altogether. So I'm going to lean towards Milwaukee in this one on the money line. Yes, you're paying a lot of juice. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a final play either, but I am going to be willing to pay that juice. And then in terms of a total 11.5, I'm going to slightly lean towards the under. You don't have good pitching on the mound. I don't want to hype them up too much, but you don't have terrible pitchers on the mound. So if they can keep balls somewhat out of play, I think that's going to be a tough line to get to. But yeah, go ahead, roast me in the comments. I get it, the altitude and all that. I understand how Colorado works, but we have cashed a decent amount of unders even when they are home this season. All right, we get the Padres taking on the Reds. Shout out to someone in the comments yesterday. They said that this is definitely a Padres spot, and it was. This Padres team, even though the Reds are a very good plus 1.5 covering team, this Padres team, when favored at minus 1.5 on the run line, they've covered that in 3 straight games now, in 7 of their last 10. They finally started to get it going here, but I don't necessarily trust Michael Wacha all that much. He's on the mound for them today, 2-1 with a 6.75 ERA. You have Ashcraft on the mound for the Reds, 2-0 with a 2.1 ERA. This might be a crazy move because we just tried it yesterday and it didn't work out, but I'm a psycho. I'm a psycho, and if you're watching this, you're a psycho too. We're going to go with the Reds here, plus 1.5 again at minus 125 odds. Then in terms of the total, 8.5, I like the over here as well. I could see this one being another sort of, game in which we see 9+ runs. We saw 11 yesterday. I would not be surprised if this is a 6-5 game, 5-4 game, that type of thing. So we're going to lean towards the over. And yes, I might be crazy to lean towards Cincinnati again. I probably am, but we're doing it yet again. All right, we got the Mariners traveling to Oakland here for this game. Oakland's actually coming off of a win, their most recent game a couple days back against the Reds, but they're still 5-23 on the season. Mariners don't have a pitcher announced yet, making it kind of tough to judge this game, but we do have money line odds. They're minus 130 to minus 140 on most sports books here, and I'm going to lean towards the Mariners because I don't trust the Oakland team. I don't hate Oakland plus 1.5, but that's without knowing who's pitching for the Mariners, so a little easier said than done there. So I'm going to safely, I think this is the safer play. I'm going to lean towards the Mariners here on the money line, but again, we don't know who's pitching. I can't stress that enough, so, take this with a grain of salt. Then in terms of the total 8 runs, I think this Mariners team can get the job done against, one, a bad pitching staff of Oakland, and then also a bad defense. And then you have Oakland, who has been getting the job done in terms of overs. In games that they've been in, they've covered this line in 8 of their last 10 games here. Actually, one of those, they landed on 8 runs. So they've had 8 or more runs in a game that they've played in 8 of their last 10. So I don't hate that spot for them whatsoever either. All right, guys, and then before we get to the last game on the slate, I didn't want to plug too much in this episode, so I didn't, but we do have brand new merch over on the channel. You can check it out here, guys. I have a link for that in the description as well. We have really cool stuff, a lot of retro designs and whatnot. We have this one that I'm wearing right now, the Fade Me basketball tee that you can see featured over far in the screen there, guys. Go check it out, $20 for a t-shirt, really good quality. We've been getting a lot of good reviews with this new drop, so make sure to go check it out. That Tonight We Shall Cover is one of my favorite tees that we have on the store as right now. It's almost sold out, only 2 colors, that's why. But make sure to go check that out, guys. Again, that link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Make sure to go check that out. Let's get into the last game of the slate here. We're looking at the Dodgers taking on the Phillies in this one. The Phillies lose this one big last night. The Dodgers win 13-4. Gosselin on the mound for them yesterday. Walker was on the mound for the Phillies. Today, we have Julio Urias on the mound for the Dodgers. He's 3-3 with a 4.41 ERA. I feel like that doesn't do him as much justice as he deserves. And then Strahm on the mound for the Phillies, 2-2 with a 2.31 ERA. This Phillies team has been a very good run line team. Obviously not yesterday, but we do still see, this Dodgers team kind of, I wouldn't say struggling, I don't want to say that, but kind of losing games when you least suspect it. Now, they've won 7 of their last 10 games, and I think you have a decent spot for them here, but the minus 150 on the money line is a little bit, too much juice to be paying. It's right on that fringe. If we can get it anything better than that, then I think we pull the trigger. But I would consider Philly on the run line, even though they got smoked yesterday. I do think this game's going to stay a little bit closer. So my first lean in this game would be the Dodgers money line, if you can get good odds. But if not, the value play is probably going to be Philly plus 1.5. In terms of the total here, the Philly has not had many games other than yesterday's game in which they're scoring a lot of runs or hitting this line, but the Dodgers have. And I think the Dodgers are going to to control this game. I do think that that is going to be an over type of spot for them. It's 8 in the graphic, but it is 8.5 on most sports books, guys. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Hope you guys do enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.